This is going to be part 3 of the Glorious Conformity series. And I think I'm going to entitle this one Hypocrites in Control to Control You. Right? There's a clip from this. I seen it on Instagram first, but it's apparently from TikTok of a police officer, telling drivers to get get out of the way. And listen to what she's saying in the clip. All right.
I can go 90 miles an hour. You can't. You can't do that. So get the out of the way.
A Washington State police officer is suspended after posting a controversial video to TikTok.
If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over. So you might as well get the out of the way.
The since-deleted TikTok was created by Federal Way police officer Brianna Strauss, who said it was a public service announcement for other drivers.
PSA to everyone out there. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm probably speaking for a large majority of other officers out there. If we're driving on the freeway in our police car,
who can't. She also says,
in our police car, get the out of the way. Get the out of the way.
In the 38-second clip, Strauss tells the viewers, quote, "I can go 90 miles per hour. You can't." She also says officers will find a way to pull someone over.
If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over. So you might as well get the out of the way.
While the video was removed from TikTok, it made waves across the internet when a Reddit user posted a screen recording of the video.
If you merge and we follow behind you and we merge too, you're probably in trouble. The best way to find that out is get the out of the way.
In a statement to local media, the Federal Way police...
Right, so I'm going to pause it there. She's pretty much getting you to conform to this fact that she does something, it's okay. Right? It's like when the cop catches you speeding and they start speeding too. Oh, it's okay for me to do it, to respond with the response that we don't want you to respond with. That's the dude from yesterday when I was here with the Wings. He's been watching me since yesterday too. But it's okay for the cop to respond with the response that they don't want you to do. Right? How often do we see this? Where the person in control does like the same thing, but you can't do it. Right? If I can go 90, you can't. I can be violent. You can't. Wait. So you're allowed the full spectrum of the human emotion, but I'm not? Why? You're human too. Oh, now you have to be qualified in a sense to have human emotions. You have to be trained to have human emotions at this point. It's not a natural thing to have human emotions apparent. Right? That same cop is going to get up if somebody breaks into their house and defend themselves. Same thing with the judges. That's why I ended the last video on, the judge deciding what's appropriate to appropriate response to your trigger. They could say, "Oh, this is excessive violence." Based on what? Do you feel something is excessive? That takes a feeling, an emotion. I feel. To feel something, it takes the emotion. But if you stay out of your emotions, you wouldn't feel that. Right? But this is what I mean by the hypocrites are in control in order to control you. Right? She just tried to condition all the people who watch the video and stuff that, okay, when you see a cop, you get out of the way. That's a conditional thing. Whether you're doing something wrong or not. If you're not doing something wrong, we will harass you. We can stay behind you and harass you and find something. Right? They're already doing something wrong, but we're going to focus on what you're doing wrong. Right? What's the difference? There really is no difference. But it's about the control. I want to be able to do something. This is why the last video was about controlling your triggers, working on your triggers. They're trying to get you to control yourself. Don't respond to me speeding, right? Or actually respond to me speeding. Get out of the way. Let me speed, and you slow the fuck down. You move out of the way so that I can speed. You control your reaction so that you feel me? I can get away with my bullshit. That's pretty much what she's saying. And she's abusing authority. This is what a lot of authority does. She even says, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm also probably speaking for the majority of officers like myself. right? Same thing with this MK Ultra gang stalking thing. They'll harass you, and then when I'm doing it, and I give the officer a whole list of what the harassment is. I gave him the list. Oh, that's vague. I slashed one tire. Oh my gosh, you harassed the whole neighborhood. Come on, they've been doing this for years. I did this in the span of a few days. But mine is harassment. They've stolen from me, damaged property, all of that stuff. Threaten my safety. That's not harassment. That's vague, right? Because they can do it, but you can't. You can't harass them back, right? Same way. Okay, you're speeding. You broke the law. How are we gonna catch up to you? We gonna speed, right? That is an appropriate response in their mind. Okay, let's apply it to violence. Somebody comes to you with violence in order to defend yourself. You respond with violence, but they'll tell you you're not supposed to respond. It's excessive violence in order to control your reaction. How did someone like Trayvon Martin die, right? Dude, this is a trained professional mind. Dude, remember, they're trained in their emotions. They got a better master. You might as well have a master's degree in their emotions. But oh, I got scared and I shot this kid because he had Skittles in his hoodie. Dude, these are the people that are over you. Hypocrites in control in order to control you, right? They want to control your emotional response while they get away with being overly emotional, right? They decide what's the appropriate emotional response. Oh, I'm so trained. Okay, imagine that. They're trained to be the masters of their emotions, but they get scared still. That's what an officer will, oh, I was afraid. Yeah, you had a basic human emotion, and you're trained to suppress that same emotion. I'm not, but I'm not supposed to do it, right? You can be an officer. I got scared, just the heat of the moment. I reacted. Oh yeah, he was afraid. That's not excessive violence. You, a normal person, shit. These people, bad people, came at me in the alley. I had to kill somebody. I was in fear of my life. My life was threatened. I took somebody else's. That was excessive violence. Even though there were multiple people with bats, knives, whatever, you had a box cutter. You're a danger to public safety. I'm exaggerating, hyperbolizing, but you get the picture. When they want to push an agenda, same thing, same hypocrisy. The hypocrites will be in control in order to control you. It's like when I went to go see my last probation officer. This is why I can't fuck with Mr. Mueller. She hasn't really done anything per se. He's kind of tried to just redirect me instead of do anything as far as like partake in the gaslighting itself. Like he hasn't sat there, done the phone thing where, the brightening tactic and all of that stuff. I don't walk in his office and get like car alarms and all of this stuff. You feel me? I get it. I've gotten it outside before. But he doesn't do it. This is more of an indirect thing where he kind of suggests certain, like tried to guide my actions, into the idea that he has my best interest in mind, right? And it's fairly logical, right? He's kind of actually put me on game to like, it's like he's doing listen, this is the system, right? He doesn't want me to break the system, but he does put me on game. Like when I asked him, I'm like, listen, I went to the FBI office, FBI Sean, boom. They giving me the runaround. What does he tell me? He's like, listen, whose side do you think they're gonna be on? Like, right? Even he knows the logic, just like I know it, right? So he hasn't done anything in per se. But my last one, she's sitting there, both her and Detective Romney, doing the whole cough and conditioning thing, right? They got cameras. You already recording me. Why? For potential safety reasons, right? This is why you got cameras everywhere, right? I gotta protect myself as well. I gotta understand that, y'all been deleting evidence. You still got my phone from when I slashed the tires and I showed the harassment that happened prior to it that made me react, that triggered me, right? The multiple parts of the buildup that triggered me, right? Into slashing the tires in order to get you to stop doing the harassment. So with that happening prior, right? You got prior history of Harassment and deleting evidence, okay, or controlling evidence if they haven't deleted it yet. I haven't gotten my phone back, so I don't know, or maybe I haven't gotten to see. So okay, in the event that they do delete the evidence or try to control it and destroy it in some form of way, since they control those cameras, I need something that I can control, my own device. So I'm gonna record. No, you recording is illegal. That's wiretapping. There should be no cameras if that's the case. Your cameras are hooked up to wires too, is it not? That's wiretapping. Actually, my phone is wireless, even though it got wires in it. Right? It got little circuit boards and all of that stuff. Right? You got like literal wires hanging from your camera. Why can't I have mine? Right? We should have the same thing. Right? I might have a different angle of it, but for the most part, we should have the same audio and everything. Right? So when you delete it, you can't go, oh, right, I seen the little sign that they had at the Allentown rescue mission. If it's not recorded, it didn't happen. So once they delete it, oh, it didn't happen. Right? Just reading Lookism. A character named G-Ho. He tries to delete all the evidence. They put up a fake store camera. He's like, yeah, I got rid of all the evidence, the camera and everything. They still caught him because they found the blade with the fingerprints. But I'm like, nah. Right? This is why I told I even forget her name. But no, I did forget her name. But the last probation officer, right? It's like in the back of my head right now. Oh, Ryan Fatts, right? But I told the last probation officer, Ryan Fatts, she's all, oh, I didn't say this. I'm like, you told me that I couldn't, get out of this, I forget the ARD program, right? You told me I couldn't get out of it. I had to wait until the ARD date was over. Oh, when did I tell you that? I never. Listen, and I told her just like this, and I recorded me telling her. I recorded it. I recorded the conversation because I don't trust you, right? I'm doing this, I'm dealing with this whole MK Ultra gang stalking nonsense. I don't trust you. There's a prior history to all of the people in authoritative positions harassing me. You are in authoritative position. You seem to be trying to gaslight me too. So, in order to defend myself, if there's nothing wrong, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. She's all, oh, I never said that, but I already have the recording, right? Oh, this phone call could be recorded for whatever purposes, for quality purposes, right? You on your end, you might have it recorded. As soon as I say that, as soon as she says, as soon as I say, oh, okay, the conversation's recorded, right? If I would have went, yo, y'all have it's a recorded conversation. Could I have that recording on your end? They could go, oh, that wasn't. We didn't record that specific conversation. Nope, I got it on my phone. So the conversation you should have recorded, I got it recorded. It's cool, right? That's why I did it. Oh, that's wiretapping. But y'all wiretapping. You're legally wiretapping. You're legally doing something illegal. What makes you more authorized? Because we're trained to wiretap. Why'd you make it so easy for me to do it? I pulled out my phone and record it. What did you have? You gotta have specific wires, cleared. Like you gotta have those type of, like, right? But they don't want you to be able to defend yourself. Any building you walk into that has a camera, you should be able to record just the same. The reason why I feel now that it's set up that way where you're not supposed to record. Oh, you can't record in these federal buildings, or like when I went to the FBI building, I'm gonna record. Because what happens when they abuse their power? Now I gotta go to the FBI to research, to investigate the FBI, and they're gonna all be in cahoots with each other. Okay, we're just gonna delete it, right? What happened with the previous MK Ultra case? Oh, they destroyed all the files. They had the files, obviously. So why would I leave the files in their hands? Last time they had a history of destroying the evidence, when left in their own care, you gotta have your own evidence. I recorded, done, boom. You brought Detective Rant, boom. He doesn't seem official, right? I was supposed to be there for something completely different. Why did you bring a whole detective with you? Your paranoia went crazy, right? All I did was tell you what you said. You had to hire a detective in order to try to intimidate or potentially sue me for recording the truth. Right, I walk into the room. The phone call that we was talking about. I was telling her about. Okay, the neighbors called the cops on me because somebody broke into the crib because they were doing a black bag job. Just trying to leave there and do their intimidation tactic, right? So they break into the Z's crib, right? I ran outside. I started recording. I'm like, I'm about to try to catch whoever tried to break into the house. All I see is the UPS dude. I'm like, they partake in the gang stalking harassment thing, right? So I'm like, okay, I kind of feel it was him, but at the moment, I don't have him directly recording. And in the meantime, I'm still recording, doing my rant. They pull up. They're like, oh, he's outside recording. I'm standing on the step. I walk to the sidewalk and stuff. I'm like, oh, who's this? This is a new vehicle because they had the back to their joint on. New vehicle. Oh, but they're so paranoid. Oh, because they thinking I'm going to slash their tire. And I already did that. I mean, I could do it again. But I already did that. Really don't need to. I'm just recording to leave that history of who was on the block, who was around at that time. Everybody else got cameras. I'm sure they could see across the street if the person across the street had the camera who came into the crib, right, to do the black bag job. But they're not going to have that evidence that day, not that time. And they'll have every moment up to it. And then all of a sudden, oh, the power must have went out. That's the excuse they might use, right? So I recorded it myself. Then I told the cop, I'm like, listen, I got to go to trial because, this ARD, she told me to wait till the ARD program is over and then I can take it to trial after. That's what she told me. Then, next day, I get a call from her. I didn't even speak to her directly. I get a call from her. The cops that the neighbors called that night called her, and then she called me about that situation. And I was like, yeah, I told the cop, that I was getting out of the ARD program because he was telling me, he's like, no, you're in ARD. I'm like, no, I already spoke to her and told her I wanted out of the ARD program, and she told me I have to wait till it's over and then we can go to trial. Right? And then when I told her that, I'm like, yeah, I told him that you said that. She's like, what? Wait, I never said that. When did? I'm like, I have it recorded. Now her alarm's going off because she didn't know it was recorded, so she was prepared with her lies. She was fully prepared to try to lie and gaslight me, right? Nope, got it recorded. I posted it on Facebook. As soon as could we meet and talk about this? As soon as I walk in there, Detective Romney is ready. Or Romnick, whatever his name is. What did you need to get a whole detective for to talk to me about why the neighbors called the cop on me? They got paranoid. And now we got this whole conversation. Oh, that's illegal and why it's happening. You so worried about what you said that you needed to call a detective to remind me that I was wiretapping. That's what you needed to. Cool. This is another reason why I was like, I'm more than likely to go to jail. They're gonna try to throw everything at me, right? I understand that everything that I do that's illegal, that's the wiretapping. I do it intentionally now. I do it knowing that it's illegal, right? Because I'm fighting fire with fire. You got to sometimes. They could probably, oh yeah, you were wiretapping this, that, the third, and I'm gonna meet that with, okay, you were deleting evidence, so that's why I had to wiretap. I didn't trust you, right? I had the reason to do it, right? Are you gonna do a thorough investigation? Because then you're gonna leave the burden of evidence on me, and I have to have it. How else am I supposed to do it? How else am I supposed to get this information? Or you have to go through us to get the information that you need, and when we don't have it, that's on you, and that's gonna affect you. So I'm not gonna leave that in your hands. I don't trust you. See how it works? But that's hypocrites in control in order to control you, in order to control the outcome, all of that. That's what the predictive programming is. You see? You see how it works? Got all the security and stuff behind me, making noise. But you see how it works? Hypocrites in control in order to control you. Right? That's like you can go into the shelter. You can't smoke this, that, and the third. Now, of course, favoritism is going to come because I have to stop smoke. That's why I posted that on Facebook. Do I personally care? I was just pointing it out, right? Just in case I need it, right? Better have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? So I gotta do a whole drug and alcohol evaluation so that you could judge my mental health based on my alcohol consumption or my weed consumption. And you got a whole staff that's supposed to be in charge of me doing this. So don't they need like a drug and alcohol? Or do they have like a certain amount of control over it? Do they have their medical marijuana card? Like, let me know something, because these are people in positions of power. But they'll kick me out if I walk in there smoking a blunt while they smoke. Oh, but I don't do it on the clock. You ain't supposed to be doing it at all. They don't drug test you. right? It's like, okay, at this point, you're being a hypocrite. It's just that simple, right? I can sit there, right? This happened in the room. Same dude that did the foot spray thing, right? Before then, that's why I was telling him, I'm like, yo, you sound like a hypocrite. He's sitting there doing the brightening. Somebody else was doing the brightening tactic to him. He's like, yo, can you turn off the light? This, that, the third. I tell these people, repeat it to them multiple times. They don't got respect. This is what he's saying, because the person doing the brightening tactic, he's not turning off the light. He's not doing it to me directly but you can see it through the room, through the door. So that's what he's complaining about. He's like, yo, this person keeps putting the brightness in my face. So then one day, I wake up because my other roommate, T, he's like, yo, you good? Because the same dude who's complaining about the brightening is sitting there with his brightener on. And he's just sitting on the bed. He's not looking for nothing. He's just sitting on the bed with his phone light on in the dark. Of course, it was time for me it was timed so that when I wake up, I would see it as well. But it's pointing at T. T don't want it to happen to him, but T does it as well. But he'll do the brightening tactic, try to flash it through the little crack in the between the chair and my suitcase, right? And then when you address him, he still keeps the light on, this, that, the third. Same thing with the foot powder. I'm like, yo, or the foot spray. I'm like, yo, you're wilding with it. The only reason he's like, oh, but you spray your stuff, you put your bait. Listen, the only reason is because I'm reacting to you spraying, over spraying. If you don't spray that shit, I don't need to put the spray to counteract your spray. I don't need to use baby powder. Only reason because you don't shower. But then they delude and oh, I wash my ass. I'm like, see, now you sound like a hypocrite. Because one, you don't. You're a liar. And then two, you're literally complaining about the same complaint that you had. And you're literally doing the same complaint that you had. He's like, I don't care about nobody else. All right, so then you have no respect, right? So that's like the person who's sitting there doing the brightening tactic to you. You can't complain about them not having respect, because all they can say is, I don't care about nobody else. I got the right to turn my phone light on, right? And point it wherever I want, right? Like when I went to daybreak, I'm asking dude, like, yo, you got your light, your little whatever light that is, the UV light, the LED light on, and you pointed directly at me in a lit room. Why? If you need the light, turn it to where you need the light. Of course, he was doing the brightening tactic, so he needed it to be on me in order to, do the conditioning, the brightening conditioning and all that brightening harassment. But right, he was intentionally being disrespectful. So if I'd have did it to him and he'd have complained, I'd have had to slap him, because you're being a hypocrite now. Right? This is why I posted. I was like, you know what? You can't argue with satanic hypocrites. They're not gonna see the fault in their ways, the fault in our stars, right? And I got more to say on this, but I'm gonna cut the video real quick because I gotta use facilities. I gotta utilize the latrine. You feel me? But I'm gonna bring it back in part 4. We're gonna discuss this even further. I might have a part 2 to the hypocrites in control in order to control you.